Today we're making Cajun chicken Alfredo. Now I've made this a few times, and the other week I had some friends over and everybody tried it. There wasn't one person that didn't like it. The only person that probably wouldn't eat it is my 96-year-old grandfather or anybody who's a traditional Italian and only eats pasta and meatballs. But if you have a taste for pasta and you want something just a little bit different, this is the recipe you gotta try. So without further ado, let's get to cooking. This pasta really is super satisfying and it checks all the boxes. It's a little creamy, it's colorful, it's cheesy, and it's got a little bit of spice. We're gonna start by taking boneless, skinless chicken breasts and cutting them down into cutlets that are about 1/4 of an inch thick. Then you're gonna season them with just salt and pepper. Make sure you get both sides of the chicken, and then you're gonna set those aside. Now to cook the chicken, you could use a grill, but since it's cold outside, we're gonna take a large pan, add about 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and once the oil is hot, we're gonna add the chicken. You wanna let the chicken sear on both sides for around 2 to 3 minutes per side, and you wanna resist the temptation to play with the chicken. If you move it around too much, you won't get a good sear on your chicken. Now we're gonna take an internal temp of the chicken. We're looking for it to be about 80% of the way cooked, or 155 degrees Fahrenheit internally. Let the chicken rest for around 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're gonna slice it into 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch slices. Now we're gonna set the chicken aside while we boil our pasta and work on our sauce. Bring a large pot of water to a boil and season generously with salt. Now we don't want the water to be too salty, just salty enough where it adds flavor to our pasta. Now we're gonna add about 12 ounces of penne pasta. You can use whatever pasta you like. I like to use a shorter noodle, but if you like long pasta, I recommend linguine. Now just before your pasta is done cooking, you want to save about 1 cup of pasta water just in case you need it later. Then drain the pasta and set aside. Now let's move on to the star of the show, the Cajun Alfredo sauce. In the same pan you used to cook the chicken on medium heat, we're gonna add a little more olive oil, and once the oil is hot, we're gonna add some shallots that we peeled and sliced nice and fine. Now if you don't have a shallot, you can use yellow onion or red onion, works just as well. Let the shallots saute for a few minutes, then we're going to season with a little salt and pepper, and the salt will help to draw out some of the moisture in the shallots. Now once the shallots are translucent and slightly caramelized, we're going to add the bell peppers. Take each pepper and cut the top and bottom off the pepper, then using your knife, cut a slit and take out the center. Then julienne the peppers into small strips, and then we're going to cut those strips in half one more time so they're about 1 inch big or the same size as our penne pasta. Let the peppers saute for a few minutes or until they begin to soften. Then we're going to add about 3 cloves of garlic that we peeled and minced up nice and fine. Let the garlic saute for around 30 seconds to a minute or until nice and fragrant. Then we're going to go in with all of our Cajun spices. The way we made this is we combined 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and if you like it spicy, 1/4 teaspoon of red chili flake. Give that all a mix until combined, and that's your Cajun spice blend. Mix all the spices into the peppers and onions, and once they're nice and fragrant after about 2 minutes, we're going to go in with 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Give that a stir until combined, and reduce the heat of the pan to medium-low. Let the sauce simmer very gently and reduce and thicken for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to go in with 1.5 cups of Parmesan cheese that we freshly grated earlier. Not only will this thicken our sauce, but it'll add a nice umami flavor that Alfredo sauce has. Stir the Parmesan cheese into the sauce and reduce the heat of the pan to low, and once the sauce is thickened up, we're going to add the sliced chicken back to the pan, and once it's heated through and cooked all the way, we're going to turn off the heat and gently melt a few tablespoons of butter into the sauce. The butter is going to add some nice richness to the sauce, and then to balance it out, we're going to add a few teaspoons of some fresh lime juice. Give the sauce a taste and adjust the seasoning to your liking. Then we're going to finish with some cilantro that we finely chopped up earlier. Give that all a mix. Then we're going to add the cooked penne pasta directly to the pan. Now this is where you have to use your best judgment. You can add a little bit of pasta water if you need a little more sauce, but be careful not to thin out the sauce too much or else it won't grip your pasta. Then toss all that pasta in the sauce until it's evenly combined, and then we're going to get ready to serve it up. We're going to serve a generous amount of this Cajun chicken Alfredo on a large plate, add some freshly grated Parmesan cheese on top, then we're going to garnish with some cilantro and a lime wedge. I really hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Please leave me a comment if you end up trying it. Now let's give it a taste. All right, let's see how we did. I have a feeling this is gonna be really good. It's freaking excellent. There's a restaurant called J. Alexander. I don't know if you've ever been there. They had a pasta on the menu called Rattlesnake pasta. This is very close to that recipe. And since the one by my house closed down, we haven't been able to have it in quite a while. This is almost identical to what they were serving at that restaurant. They might use linguine pasta, but I like to use the penne pasta. Fundamentally, it's an Alfredo sauce. But what makes it different is all the Cajun spices, a little bit of that lime juice, the nice acidity kind of breaks it up. It's got subtle smoky flavor. If you want a pasta dish and you don't want to go for spaghetti and meatballs or a normal Alfredo, this is the one you have to try. My wife's trying to get me to hurry up the video. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give me a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
All right, I'll see.
I'm way ahead of you.